So in hindsight, I remember thinking about Issa Rae and how she said she kind of regretted naming her character after herself. In hindsight, like, how do you feel naming this character after yourself? Because we're watching, we're like, girl, what are you doing? Like,
yo, I'm a little nervous about it. I just realized the other day, I was like, I should change my Postmates name. I should change my Lyft name. I think when I was writing, I wanted to write close to the bone. So it was just easy for me to use my name. Also, I had developed at FX. It didn't get picked up. I had developed at Amazon. We made a pilot, but it didn't go to series. And then I had developed at Showtime. And when I was writing this, when I was writing the character name, it was like almost Diarra. Like I was like Dara or Jaya or something. And something in me was like, stop hiding. Like, tell the world that you're okay being seen. And so, I don't know, it seemed to work. Like it had, like from I Love Lucy on down to, Insecure, it seemed like people using their real names worked.
It's also not for nothing a real boss move. Like, no, the character's me. I've named her after me. I'm not giving her a fictional name. I created this, I wrote it. We're gonna name her Diarra.
But maybe I will live to regret it. So we'll see.
We'll see, for sure. What I also love about this series, when I'm watching it, when I watched that first episode, it very much is Detroit versus everybody. Is it not? Detroit is all through and through. It feels like a love letter to that city. Talk about your connection to Detroit and why you wanted to plant this series in that city.
So Detroit to me is such a specific tone. There was a story that was in the news when I was little. There was a little boy who was kidnapped from a mall in Detroit. And is anybody from Detroit? Oh, one person. But if you're from Detroit during the 90s, you remember his face because it was everywhere and everybody was looking for him. And it was on the news and they thought his mom might have had something to do with it. And it was a big story. And then, maybe 25, 30 years later, just before the pandemic, a grown man walked into a Detroit police station and he said, I'm him. I think I'm that boy who has been kidnapped back in 95 or whatever. And so they said they would check his DNA, and I was like refreshing the Detroit news all the time, like, is this him? Is it gonna be a tearful reunion? And they checked his DNA, and they found out that he was, in fact, completely crazy. He was just a person who said, hey y'all, I think I'm this boy. He was just a total lunatic. And I thought, oh my God, that is so Detroit. That is so Detroit. Like, where you feel like this is about to be dangerous and riveting, and he's gonna come back and say, I was kept under a house with crackheads, and and it wasn't. It just turned out to be kind of a joke. And I felt like that's what it felt like to grow up in Detroit, to never really know what exactly was around the corner. And that felt like a specific tone to me and a way into a world, into Detroit as like this setting that felt like its own character.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that storytelling because, as you mentioned, the story continues to unfold. It's like another story reveals another story that reveals another story. And you're like, girl, where it's going all around.
Layers.
Yeah, there's multiple layers. You're peeling them back like an onion. What compelled you to tell the story this way? Because it's very much something you would hear like at a barbecue or the aunts and uncles, and you like, ain't no way. But it's real.
So that's exactly what I said to the writer's room. Yeah. I said, every episode should feel like a dinner party story that starts like, girl, my girl was dating this, and he turned out to be a missing person. Like, it should be, every single story should be that thing that you can't wait to tell your girlfriends over wine. And so I wanted the whole thing to feel like a movie, and then every episode to feel like it revolves around a dinner party story.